Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something huge, a plan to completely transform Nepal's education system. We're talking about a nation at a real turning point, where a full-blown crisis in the classroom has kicked off a movement led by young people demanding some serious, radical change.
All right, so let's get right into it. Now, if you just look at the surface, the numbers actually look pretty good. Nepal has made these incredible strides, right? They've hit a national literacy rate of over 71%. And look, that's a massive accomplishment. It shows they've really expanded access to education for so many people.
But, and this is a big but, you peel back that first layer and wow, you find a deep, deep crisis in quality. Get this, as of 2025, more than half, over 50% of all secondary students are getting non-graded results on their exams. Let's be real, that's basically a failing grade. It's a huge red flag that the system isn't just struggling, it's fundamentally broken. It's at a breaking point.
So you see, this isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. This is a social tipping point. Nepal is at this huge crossroads, and you know where the energy for change is coming from? It's coming straight from the youth. We're talking about a Gen Z-led movement that's basically saying, enough is enough. This broken system has to end.
And this quote from Dr. Vasquez just nails the urgency of the moment. She says, the ballot in March is the match, the reforms, the blaze. I mean, how perfect is that? With national elections coming up in March 2026, people like her see this incredibly rare, powerful window of opportunity. The election isn't just another vote. It could be the spark that ignites a complete and total overhaul of the entire system.
Okay, so before we can even talk about solutions, we've got to get our heads around the problems, right? The real-world stuff. Let's really dig into this huge gap between what education in Nepal is supposed to be and the pretty tough reality on the ground.
And this right here? This chart shows you a core part of the problem. You've got this incredibly resilient population, so rich in knowledge and potential, but the system is just shackled by a lack of money. Nepal is only spending about 3 to 4% of its GDP on education. To put that in perspective, the global benchmark, the recommended amount, is 6%. They're way below where they need to be.
So what happens when you don't invest? Well, you get what some people are calling a brain drain avalanche. It's exactly what it sounds like. When the system at home fails to create opportunities, the country's brightest, most skilled young people, they're forced to leave. And we're not talking about a trickle. Over 1,000 of them are leaving every single month. It's a massive loss.
So the key thing to get here is that these aren't just surface-level issues you can patch up. Nope, these are deep, structural failures. One analyst even calls them the 5 tectonic fault lines, like cracks running through the very foundation of the system. It's a powerful image, right? Let's break them down one by one.
First up, instability. Just think about this. Over 13 different governments in just 15 years. Can you imagine? There's absolutely no consistency. So new government comes in, announces some great new reform, everyone gets excited, and then poof, they're gone. The ideas never, ever get a chance to actually be implemented.
Fault line number 2, funding. And that money gap we talked about, it has devastating real-world consequences. We're talking about schools, 40% of them, that don't even have basic things like toilets, especially when you get out into the more remote areas. It's just a massive failure of infrastructure.
Then there's the third fault, the curriculum. It's just completely stuck in the past. It's all about rote memorization, just cramming facts for an exam. But that's not what the modern world needs, is it? Today's economy is all about creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and this old model just isn't delivering that.
Number 4 is inequality, and this is a huge one. There are just massive, massive gaps depending on who you are, your gender, your caste, where you happen to live. I mean, just imagine this. If you're a student from a marginalized community, your risk of dropping out is literally double that of your classmates. It's a system with built-in barriers.
And the 5th and final fault line? The teachers. You know, they're supposed to be the backbone of the entire system. But they're undervalued, undertrained. I mean, only half of them are even certified. They're dealing with low pay, and to make it worse, getting a job often depends more on who you know politically than what you know. That just completely guts the quality of teaching in the classroom.
Okay, so that's a lot of problems, I know. But it's not all doom and gloom, I promise. Because there is a really comprehensive, powerful vision for the future. So let's shift gears and talk about the blueprint, the plan to turn Nepal from a nation in crisis into a global leader in education.
It's got a pretty cool name, the Himalayan Nexus Model.
And the idea behind it is all about fusion. It's about creating something that's uniquely Nepali. So you take the amazing local culture and indigenous wisdom, and you fuse it with modern tech and a non-negotiable, relentless focus on equity for everyone. And the goal? It's incredibly ambitious. They want to rival the best education systems in the world. You know, the Finlands and Estonias of the world.
So you might be asking, how on earth do you make something this bold happen? Well, the plan calls for what they're calling 5 targeted surgical strikes. Each one is designed to fix one of those deep tectonic faults we talked about. First, you build a political firewall to stop all that government interference. Then, a massive funding surge. We're talking up to 10% of GDP. After that, you overhaul the curriculum for the modern world, launch equity accelerators to help marginalized groups, and kick off a teacher renaissance to finally elevate the profession.
And just look at what this would mean inside a classroom. The change would be night and day. You move away from that old, boring, rote-heavy model to this dynamic Nexus curriculum. Instead of memorizing facts, you're doing project-based learning. You're tackling real-world topics like AI ethics and climate resilience. You're not just teaching what to think, you're teaching how to think, and it's all blended with Nepal's amazing cultural heritage.
And the thing is, this can't be a slow 10-year plan. It needs immediate, bold action, like the day after the 2026 election. It's what you might call shock therapy for the system. We're talking about rolling out a nationwide e-learning platform right away, launching a Nepal Teach course to get 50,000 of the best graduates into teaching, and, this is huge, getting rid of those high-stakes exams and replacing them with portfolios that actually show what a student can do. So, if they can actually pull this off, if a plan this bold gets implemented, the transformation would be absolutely historic. So let's look at that vision. Let's look at the end goal, the summit that's waiting if they choose to make this climb. And this isn't just some vague, wishful thinking. The blueprint lays out a really clear, step-by-step path. It all kicks off with that reset election in 2026. By 2028, the goal is 100% internet in schools and getting 90% of teachers certified. By 2030, you close those massive equity gaps. And the big one, by 2035, the vision is for Nepal to be topping the South Asian education charts and actually reversing that brain drain we talked about. It's a real roadmap.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds impossible, like a fantasy. But here's the thing. It's been done before. Just look at a country like Estonia. They came from the ruins of the Soviet Union and turned themselves into a digital powerhouse. They proved that this kind of radical, system-wide change is absolutely possible. And they did it in a single generation.
So it all comes down to this. The blueprint is there. The path forward is clear. And the potential for Nepal, it's enormous. But, and this is the most important part, it demands incredible, unwavering political will to actually make that climb. The real question isn't whether the plan is good enough. The question is whether Nepal's leaders will have the courage to scale their nation's true Everest, the future of its children.